Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Random Review Squad. Today we will be building the Tofu 65% keyboard for my friend. I have to confess he wasn't particularly a fan of keyboards until I actually introduced him to rather decent keyboards. I got him into keyboards and he eventually bought a Leopold FC990M if I'm not wrong. And that was kind of his entry into the keyboard world, and he was always so sure that he will never buy another keyboard because he already has a pretty good keyboard. Now, Leopolds are actually pretty good keyboards, but it's not a custom keyboard, so you still don't have the best from the keyboards in terms of sound, in terms of quality, in terms of color profile, all these things that you want, in terms of switches. These things only come when you go into custom keyboards. So he eventually did. I did warn him that it was a landslide into a dark, endless hole. This passion and this hobby is a little bit expensive, and it's kind of like there is no end game, so you kind of just keep going forward in terms of the hobby itself. 2 months later, guess who bought new keyboard parts? Right, my friend. So here we are building a keyboard for it. Of course, he wanted to build it, so I kind of took him through the steps and gave him my thoughts on it as well. First, let's take a look at the parts that he bought. Now, I can just kind of marvel at this without any heartache or stress that the parts might be bad, because obviously I didn't pay for this. I ain't got that YouTube money yet, you see. So if you guys do want me to spend on expensive keyboards, a sub would be great. Now, we got the DZ65 V2 hot swap PCB bought from KBD which looks really nice with a standard black and gold design. It comes with KL hot swap sockets and it's a 65% PCB. We also got some Durock Everglide V2 screw-in stabs from our dude Gunnar Keebs on Carousel. He's pretty cool, go check out his store. We got desk key films and holee mod stickers for holee modding. Of course, we got a standard USB cable, but my friend did get a coil cable from a seller and it looks like this. Now, on to the main parts. We opted for a brass plate because he liked the sound profile and it looks really nice. Of course, he likes the color red and he opted for the Tofu 65 Aluminium 65% case. It's a beautiful 65% case in the Burgundy red. It weighs in at about 1.1 kg, comes with rubber feet and screws. It also has a brass weight mounted under it with the KBD logo. Not really a fan of the font or the logo, but since it's on the underside, not really a big deal. It has beautiful CNC machining. As you guys can see, it's a tray mounting style, so the build would be relatively easier than most. Well, that's what we thought anyways, The keycaps we've chosen aren't exactly GMK keycaps, so usually people call them GM fakes. We got them from AliExpress and he was particularly fond of the GMK Red Samurai colorway without the Japanese. Like, he was very sure he did not want the Japanese. Basically better cost and pretty close to similar quality as the GMK keycaps, but in double shot PBT. Now, it does make you wonder why GMK doesn't already do them in double shot PBT instead of just double shot ABS. Of course, the switches. We got the Durock POMs and 4x Cherry MX HYPERGLIDEs. These are beautiful linear switches which are buttery smooth with a light scratch which actually allows some form of feedback to the user. Well, that's what my friend feels anyways. He feels that C3 tangerines like mine are too smooth for him. And they also have a really nice sound profile. They have a POM housing, a mystery material stem, and a 63-gram weighted gold-plated spring. If you guys know what the mystery material is of the stem itself, do leave a comment down in the comment section below. I am really interested to know. Okay, so enough about the parts, let's get into the building of the keyboard. We first start off by lubing the key switches with Krytox 205 grade 0. This took about 12 hours on his part because he wanted to be absolutely sure they were lubed to perfection. Next, we lube the stabilizers with Krytox 205 grade 0 as well, and also holee mod the stab housings before we lube it, of course, to ensure no rattle on the first mount. We then screwed in the stabilizers and mounted one switch and spacebar keycap. Tried it and it was amazing. Don't worry, we have a sound test towards the end, so you can wait for that. Next, we carry on to add some sound dampening foam to the bottom of the Tofu 65 case to reduce the hollow sound from the tray mounting. We then proceeded on to screw on the PCB to the tray. So we thought this would be a smooth sailing build, but we were wrong. the entire PCB was slanted and the USB-C connector was just jutting out in one corner. So it was just slanted like this. And we really did not know what was going on because we couldn't screw in 2 of the screws on the left side of the PCB. After an hour of trying to figure out what the issue was, it was actually the Durock Everglide stabilizers. Their spacers are actually thicker and less malleable. They were kind of pushing the PCB down on one side and the other side was being pushed up. So what we had to do was to just switch out the spacers with the smaller, flimsier ones that keep it defense center. So yeah, that solved the problem pretty much. We then put in the plate and was about to start mounting switches when we realized you deserve a sound test of the lubed and unlubed Durock POMs. So here it is. Okay, so now we mount all the switches onto the board one by one. It was pretty quick compared to the YMD K96 builds I've done. The board has Kailh hot swap sockets, so there was no need for any soldering. We then proceeded on to put on all the keycaps, but we did face some issues towards the end with which keycap goes for which row and which keycaps he can use in terms of that final corner for keycaps that are a little bit weird. These keycaps are cherry profile, thick PVT double shot keycaps, so they have a height profile for each row. So getting the right row took a while, but we got there. And that's it. The Tofu 65% build is done. Here's some mandatory sexy shots. Of course, here's the part that really made my friend cry from joy. Cry a lot from joy. I kind of orgasmed, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, the sound test. Here it is. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Tofu 65 build with Durock POMs. It was a learning experience. I learned new things. I learned the holee modding process. I learned a lot about the keycaps on AliExpress in terms of grading and which grades of keycaps I should be looking at if I want cheaper but still good quality keycaps. It also taught me about the stabilizers, the Durock stabilizers, right? And the spaces that can actually affect the PCB in a way, in a tight case especially. And of course, typing with the Durock POMs is amazing as well. Buttery smooth, has a little bit of feedback, which is amazing as well. But I still prefer the C3 Tangerines. So if you ask me one of the top few linears what they are, then I would say it is your preference, but I'll put the Durock POMs up there in the list. Yeah, so if you guys like this video, please leave a like and smash that subscribe button. Of course, leave your comments down in the comment section below. Until next time, I'm your host Thiru, and this is Random Review Squad.